Imagine a leaky faucet, just drip, 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 slowly eroding your financial foundation. For millions thinking about or already in retirement, that grip is inflation. It's constantly, quietly chipping away at the value of your Social Security benefits. So, how do you stop that leak? How do you make sure those benefits don't just lose their power over time? Well, today we're doing a deep dive into Social Security's cost of living adjustments. You probably know it as COLA. It's this really vital mechanism, but honestly, it's often quite misunderstood. It's specifically designed to protect your purchasing power. Our mission today is simple: unpack COLA, not just what it is, but why it even started, how it's calculated, that's key, its history, which is fascinating, and the debates swirling around it. We want to give you a shortcut basically to understanding this crucial piece of your retirement planning. Make sure you're equipped.
And it's important to grasp that starting COLA back in 1975 was a really big deal, a landmark shift. Before that, benefits just lost ground to inflation. This change meant they could keep pace without needing Congress to act every single time, which was often political. And this was critical, especially with the really high inflation we saw in the 1970s. It was having a serious erosive effect, as the sources say, on fixed benefits.
Okay, so that sets the stage perfectly. Before 75, it sounds like benefits were just stuck, unless Congress happened to vote for an increase.
Exactly. You were waiting on politicians. And meanwhile, prices kept going up, and what your benefits could buy just kept going down. It led to a real loss of purchasing power.
Right.
Retirees faced tough choices.
So introducing automatic CLA must have felt revolutionary, taking the politics out of it mostly. Did it create any new problems or debates by being automatic?
Well, it definitely removed that need for constant lobbying just
Yep.
for routine inflation adjustments. It provided, as our sources put it, predictable protection.
Mm.
And the timing, 75, looking back, it feels almost providential, doesn't it? Because the 70s unleashed this unprecedented inflation. Without automatic CLA then, retirees on fixed incomes would have been absolutely devastated.
That makes total sense. Okay, so the big question for most people is probably, how does it actually work? How is the CLA number decided each year? Is it some super complex formula?
It is specific, but understandable. It hinges on an economic indicator, the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers. The CPIW, that's tracked by the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Okay, CPIW. So what do they do with that number?
The Social Security Administration takes the average CPIW for the third quarter, that's July, August, and September of the current year, and they compare that average to the average for the same 3 months from the previous year.
Got it. Q3 versus Q3. And if this year's average is higher,
Then you get a percentage increase based on that difference, rounded to the nearest 0.1%.
okay, what if prices fall? Does that mean benefits could actually go down? That would be worrying.
That's a really crucial protection built in. If prices fall, or even if they just stay the same, no CLA is applied for that year, but your benefit amount doesn't decrease.
Oh, good.
It stays put. So you're shielded from deflation, reducing your actual benefit check.
That's definitely reassuring. And the timing seems helpful for planning, too. You find out in October, but it takes effect in January.
That's right. Announced in October, effective the following January. It gives you, the beneficiary, a few months to adjust your budget and financial plans.
Okay. And you mentioned the history is fascinating. Its adjustments haven't always been small, have they?
Not at all. Looking back, the historical COA amounts have varied dramatically. They're really a mirror reflecting the wider economy.
I remember reading about some of those peaks, the 70s and early 80s inflation. Crazy numbers. What was the record?
The record high was in 1980, a staggering 14.3% increase.
Wow, 14.3%. It's hard to even imagine that today. It really shows what runaway inflation looks like and how vital CLA became almost overnight.
It absolutely does. Then things calmed down. The 1990s and early 2000s saw more moderate CLAs, typically, in the 2% to 4% range, reflecting more stable inflation.
Well, calmer period, yeah. But there were also times with no CLA increase at all, right?
Correct. The 2009-2010 period, right after the Great Recession, that was actually the first time since automatic adjustments began that beneficiaries went 2 straight years with a 0 CLA.
Ouch. That must have been tough, even if it was due to deflation.
Definitely felt like a strain for many. More recently, COLA's adequacy is back in the spotlight. Remember 2022?
Oh, yeah, 8.7%. That was huge, the biggest in decades.
Exactly. Driven by that pandemic-related inflation surge. Then it moderated 3.2% for 2024, and the adjustment for 2025 is 2.5%.
Right.
Still reflects some persistent inflation, but not as extreme.
Now, when we talk CLA, who exactly gets it? Does it apply across the board for all Social Security recipients?
Yes, it applies universally.
Yep.
Whether you receive retirement, disability, or survivor benefits, the CLA adjustment is applied. It ensures everyone gets some protection.
Okay, but there's a nuance there, isn't there, about the actual dollar amount?
There is. Because it's a percentage increase, people with higher existing benefits receive a larger dollar increase than those with lower benefits. And our sources point out this can actually exacerbate income inequality among beneficiaries over time. Those dollar gaps just get wider each year.
That's a really significant point. Something that seems fair as a percentage has a different impact in real dollars.
It does.
And quickly, what about SSI, Supplemental Security Income?
Good question. Yes, SSI recipients also get CLA adjustments. The only difference is timing their increase usually takes effect in December, so a month earlier than Social Security.
Okay, so we've got the basics down, but now let's get into something that seems to cause a lot of confusion and sometimes frustration.
Huh.
The Medicare hold harmless provision. Can you break that down?
Right, this is definitely a complex interaction. It's about how your CCOLA relates to your Medicare Part B premiums. The idea, the intent behind hold harmless, is to prevent increases in your Medicare Part B premium from actually reducing your Social Security check amount year over year for most people.
And this seems like the CCOLA increase you get can end up being completely eaten up by the rise in your Medicare premium.
That's the catch. It can limit the effective value of CCOLA adjustments. If your Part B premium increase is more than your dollar COLA increase, essentially your entire COLA goes to cover that premium hike.
So your net Social Security payment doesn't go up at all.
Exactly.
Right.
You might see no change in your take-home amount. And the sources note this happened several times in the 2010s, led to a lot of understandable frustration.
Yeah, you'd feel like you didn't really get an increase. And does hold harmless protect everyone?
No, and that's critical. It doesn't apply if you're new to Medicare that year. It also doesn't apply if you're a higher income beneficiary subject to IRMAA, that's the income-related monthly adjustment amount, or if you pay your Part B premiums directly instead of having them deducted from Social Security. These groups can face the full premium increase, even if it wipes out their COLA and then some.
Okay, so that adds another layer of complexity. Given all this, what are the main criticisms we hear about the current COI system? Where's the biggest debate?
The core issue, the one that comes up most often, is the index used. That's CPIW. Remember, it tracks spending for working-age urban wage earners and clerical workers.
Not retirees.
Exactly. And critics argue this means it potentially misrepresents seniors' actual cost increases. Their spending patterns are just different.
That makes intuitive sense. Retirees often spend a bigger chunk of their budget on healthcare and housing, right? And those costs often go up faster than general inflation.
Precisely. Healthcare is the big one, but also housing, certain services. The CPIW might underweight these categories compared to what seniors actually spend their money on.
And this isn't just theoretical, is it? Using a different index, like one tailored for seniors, could mean real money.
It could. Estimates suggest that using something like the CTIE, the Experimental Consumer Price Index for the elderly, could potentially add hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars to a retiree's benefits over the course of a year compared to the CPIW. It highlights that gap.
Wow. What about location? Does the CPIW account for regional differences, like living in New York City versus rural Iowa?
No, it doesn't. It's a single national average calculation.
Yeah.
So everyone gets the same percentage COA, regardless of whether they live in a high-cost or low-cost area. That can feel unfair if your local inflation is much higher.
Okay, so if CPIW has these limitations, what are the alternatives people talk about? You mentioned CPIE.
Right, the CPIE, Consumer Price Index for the elderly. It's specifically designed to track spending patterns of households headed by someone 62 or older. Because it gives more weight to things like healthcare, it would likely result in slightly higher COLAs on average over time.
But implementing it isn't simple?
No, it would require an act of Congress, and it would increase the program's costs, which is a factor in the debate.
And what about the other direction? Is there an index that might result in lower CLAs?
Yes, there's the chain CPI. It's a different way of measuring inflation that tries to account for substitution bias.
Meaning if steak gets too expensive, people buy more chicken, and chain CPI reflects that shift.
Kind of, yeah. It assumes consumers adjust their buying habits more readily when prices change. This method typically results in a lower measured rate of inflation compared to CPIW or CPIE.
So using chain CPI would save the Social Security program money.
It would reduce future CCOLA amounts and therefore lower program costs. But the flip side, the major criticism, is that it could reduce benefit adequacy. Retirees might see their purchasing power erode more over time.
So putting this all together, how should you, the listener, think about Kikole in your own retirement planning? It's more than just a number announced in the fall.
Definitely. QLA is absolutely crucial. It provides vital protection against inflation, eroding your fixed Social Security income over many years of retirement. But, and it's an important but, you can't assume it guarantees maintaining your full purchasing power, especially, as we've discussed, when it comes to things like healthcare costs, which might outpace the COLA adjustment.
So you need to be proactive. Don't rely solely on COLA. Our sources suggest thinking about supplemental ways to protect against inflation, maybe through your investment portfolio, perhaps certain types of annuities, build multiple layers of security.
Exactly. It's about a comprehensive approach, though the predictability is a plus.
Right.
Knowing that KOA amount in October really does help. You can incorporate that adjustment into your budget for the upcoming year. That certainty is valuable compared to other income streams that might not have any inflation protection.
Looking down the road then, what's the future hold for CLA? It feels like these debates around calculation methods and adequacy aren't going away.
No, you're right. Social Security as a whole faces long-term financial pressures. And COA is a key part of the discussion about reforms. You see proposals across the spectrum, some want to enhance KOA, maybe using CPIE, while others propose reducing future CLAs using changed CPI to help shore up finances.
And bigger demographic trends must play into this too. People living longer, healthcare costs rising.
Absolutely. Those trends amplify the importance of getting KOA right. An adequate COA becomes even more critical for maintaining living standards over a potentially decades-long retirement. And with more and more baby boomers retiring, the sheer number of beneficiaries means any change to the KOA formula has a huge fiscal impact, magnifying the debate over program sustainability. Plus, just general economic uncertainty, future inflation patterns, interest rates might force adjustments down the line to keep KOA effective and fair.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. Social Security's STLA, it's clearly a vital safety net. Complex, sure, but it's been providing essential inflation protection for millions of Americans for almost 50 years now. We've talked about its purpose, how the CPIW calculation works today, the historical ups and downs, and these ongoing debates about whether it's truly adequate and sustainable long term. Ultimately, understanding KIOLA's role, recognizing its limitations like that CPIW measurement and the Medicare hold harmless issue, and being aware of potential future changes, it all empowers you. It helps you make smarter, more informed decisions for your own retirement security. It's about knowing what that benefit adjustment truly means for your bottom line over time.
And maybe a final thought for you to consider. As these inflation worries continue and the population ages, the core question maybe isn't just how much benefit should increase each year. Perhaps it's about what measurement truly captures the real cost of living for older Americans. It pushes us to ask, what policies do we need to ensure Social Security can keep its promise of reliable security for future generations? How do we balance making sure individual benefits are adequate with keeping the entire program financially sound for the long haul?